I have been married to my wife for 22 years, and for every single one of those years, I have been the only person bringing home a paycheck. I supported her through her failed business ideas, her expensive hobbies, and even her family drama. But last week, she inherited a fortune that would make most people retire instantly. And her first words to me were, "Don't expect a single cent to understand why I am currently sitting in a hotel room with a divorce lawyer on speed dial. You have to understand the level of sacrifice I put into this woman." When we first met, she was a struggling artist with nothing but a dream and a pile of debt. I worked 2 jobs to pay off her credit cards. I spent my weekends driving her to galleries and paying for her supplies. I never complained because I thought we were building a life together. 5 years ago, we almost lost everything. My wife's family home was going into foreclosure because her father had made some terrible investments. I had just received a small inheritance from my own grandfather, about $80,000. It wasn't a million, but it was everything I had. I didn't even think twice. I handed that check over to her parents to save their home. My wife cried and told me I was her hero. She told me she would never forget what I did for her family. Apparently, her memory is a lot shorter than I thought. Everything changed when her father passed away last month. He had been a very private, very wealthy man, but he was also incredibly difficult. While he was alive, he treated me like I was beneath him because I worked a regular job in management. But when he died, he left my wife a portfolio of properties and a cash settlement that totaled over $5 million. The day the check cleared, I came home with a bottle of champagne. I thought we were finally going to be able to breathe. I told her, "Honey, we can finally pay off the rest of our debt and maybe take that trip to Europe we talked about." She didn't even look up from her phone. She just said, "Why are you saying we? This is my father's money. It is stay in the family money. You have your job, and I have my inheritance." I thought she was joking. I laughed and said, "Come on. I've supported us for 20 years. But she stood up and looked me in the eye with a coldness that I can only describe as terrifying. She said, "You were just doing your job as a husband. My father wanted me to be taken care of, not you. If you think you are entitled to a penny of this, you are sadly mistaken. In fact, if we ever got a divorce, I would be the one in the mansion, and you would be the one in a studio apartment, if you're lucky." I was devastated, but then things got even worse. A few days later, I was cleaning up the office when I found a folder she had left open on her computer. She had already been talking to a high-end divorce attorney weeks before the inheritance even hit her account. She wasn't just planning to keep the money. She was planning to dump me the moment the last legal paper was signed. But she made one fatal mistake. She forgot that in our state, while an inheritance is usually separate property, if you mix that money with marital assets, it becomes fair game. And she also forgot about the $80,000 I gave her parents 5 years ago. I had her sign a simple promissory note back then, mostly for tax reasons, stating that the money was a loan from our marital funds to her family estate. I took that folder and the promissory note to my own lawyer. He looked at me and smiled. He said, "She thinks she is being smart, but she just handed you the keys to her new fortune." Because I used my separate inheritance to save her family's primary asset, and because she has been using our joint account to pay for the property taxes on her new inherited buildings, the line between her money and our money has been completely blurred. The look on her face when I served her the papers was worth more than the $5 million. She was sitting in the living room, browsing luxury real estate in Aspen, when my process server knocked on the door. She came screaming into my room, calling me a gold digger and a traitor. I didn't say a word. I just pointed to the promissory note and the bank statements showing her using our joint money to fund her new lifestyle. I am not a greedy man. I just wanted the partnership I was promised 22 years ago. Now, Her lawyers are scrambling to offer me a settlement just to keep me from going to court and taking half of everything. She went from being a billionaire's daughter who didn't need me to a woman who is terrified she is going to lose the very mansion she tried to kick me out of. I am moving out this weekend. I don't care about the mansion. I don't care about the fancy cars. I just want to be with someone who values loyalty more than a bank balance. What would you do if you were in my shoes? Would you take the settlement and run, or would you take her to court and fight for every single cent she tried to keep from you? Let me know in the comments, because this is just the beginning.